Zero. Breaking your ears right out of the gate. Sorry for that. It just kind of happens. Something takes over when the show starts. It's season 4, episode 32. Welcome to the show. I'm BD. Joined today by Jenna Anderson.
Hey, everybody.
We got Jamie Durack.
Good morning.
And we got Aaron Perrine.
Wow. It's weird not being in Anaheim. Good morning, everybody.
It is.
I feel like I just should have lived there now. Took up residence. Yes, thank you so much for watching and listening and supporting and making our D23 show possible. Big ol' thanks to new friend of the show, Bob Iger, for telling us he's friends with Rocket Raccoon. We were ready with the hard-hitting stuff there. And if you don't know what we're talking about, go listen to our last episode and all the way to the end. It was a moment, but we don't need to focus on that. It's a new day. Yes, it is. So it's a lot to talk about today, including the return of Robert Downey Jr., King Thanos, Avengers Campus, all kinds of stuff like that we haven't even had a chance to talk about. Spider Noir, Fortnite. We're talking about Fortnite today. Oh, that's why I'm here. That's the real reason I'm here, is for the Fortnite. But first, the most important thing, the thing that everybody's really here for, the thing that we couldn't possibly spend another second not talking about. Kraven the Hunter released the trailer. Should we watch it? Should we just? I don't think we can use the sound.
I don't think we can.
Johnny Cash in it on a broken record version of Johnny Cash in it. It's a trailer. Aaron, what'd you think?
I was very surprised to wake up and look and see that this had dropped literally in the middle of the night, literally like news dump style, which just means that they have so much confidence in the Kraven sweep. They just have so much very, very well-placed confidence. We now know what the Rhino looks like, which Nick Valdez, happy birthday. You finally got what you wanted for your birthday there, buddy. BD said earlier this year on this show that Madam Web would be the worst movie that he saw all year. And we've already had...
not true.
Already not true. And I feel good about, hey, man, that... December 13th or whatever?
Yep.
That phase 0. Go ahead and put that on y'all calendars. I am looking forward to that now.
Jenna, how'd you feel about this trailer?
I agree with Aaron. I cannot remember the last time that a trailer was dropped in the middle of the night. That is definitely a choice. Like, even the 8 a.m. trailer drops make more sense in my mind than dropping it in the middle of the night. I think this trailer's fine. I think the action looks cool. I think the actual any line of dialogue in this trailer feels so repetitive that it kind of drives me crazy. And I also feel like in a post-Logan world, using a Johnny Cash song in your trailer is definitely a choice, because like nothing is going to beat the Hurt use in the Logan trailer. But yeah, it looks fine. I'm sure we'll talk about the specifics. The costume looks good, and I'll give them that.
Jamie?
I watched this 5 minutes ago. As you know, I wake up, I roll out of bed and get on this show. So it was what an aggressive thing to watch when you just wake up. Honestly, what's funny about this is if I didn't know that Kraven was Marvel, I would have no idea that this movie was in any way related to Marvel, like truly. Especially considering Russell Crowe was already like in Marvel across the board. Honestly though, like I don't think it's that bad of a trailer. I mean, the violent, I'm into like how violent it is, and but I just don't care. You know, it's like I have zero energy to get excited about this, but I also have zero energy to like be mad about it too. I'm just like, this is a thing that exists. Great.
Yeah, I'm kind of right there with you. I don't think it's like a bad trailer. I don't think it's like a great trailer. I watch it. I don't feel anything. It's clearly trying to do a bit of John Wicky type of action, but it's also trying to be a Marvel movie, but like seemingly not really be a Marvel movie. I think it needed to really dive into one or the other fully. And it's fine. Like Kraven, the suit looks cool. Yes, I think the Kraven suit looks cool. This man is hunting humans like relentlessly, so that's a choice. It's fine. I don't know. It's hard. I think Jamie summarized. I don't have the energy to get excited for this. we've been down this road with these Sony Marvel movies so many times. It feels like they're trying to do something different, which is cool. I like Aaron Taylor Johnson. I think the Kraven character is cool. And the R rating looks like it's over the top type blood, but not like in the cartoonish fun way that Deadpool was. But it's certainly committed to that R rating, and it's letting you know it, which cool. I think Aaron Taylor Johnson's quite charismatic and fun to watch when he's talking, and he doesn't do a lot of that and get to show a lot of that in this trailer. So hopefully the movie takes better advantage of that. I go back to Bullet Train and I'm just like, dude, he was so good in that. Maybe we get some of that in this. But Rhino does look cool. And it's a trailer. It's fine. It doesn't, I don't think people are watching this trailer going, oh, gotta go. But I also don't think people are looking at this trailer going, that looks crap. It's fine. It is what it is. I don't know. It's just I was awake when the trailer dropped, so maybe that's why I'm so low energy right now.
Understandable. Can I just say the violence aspect of this trailer is very funny to me when Sony said when they delayed it to December, and we'll get into the specifics of that delay, but they had said initially of like, oh, we did this so that everyone could take their families to go see this over the holiday season. It's like, you are not bringing grandma and small children to watch people get destroyed in bear traps and get their noses bit off. Like, I'm sorry.
Know what grandma's into.
You got me there.
I don't know. A 5-year-old sat in front of me the second time I saw Deadpool and Wolverine, so I feel like people don't care anymore.
That is true.
They're just dragging their kids to see it. A 7-year-old sat in front of me during Long Legs. Long Legs. There was a child in front of me. So,
yeah. So I think this movie is going to be sold on Aaron Taylor Johnson more than any Kraven or Marvel element. I think that he's the one who has to carry this movie in the marketing because they're not really leaning into much else. The action looks cool, but not anything we haven't seen before, and not as stylized as action like John Wick. So it's fine. Hopefully the movie's good because I'm going to watch it. Calypso, Jenna, what's going on? Anything about that?
Just we got more of her than we did in the previous trailer, which even then the previous trailer feels like a literal lifetime ago. So I'm just excited to see Ariana DeBose. I'm very curious, given her like mystical connection in the comics, which I'm way too tired to get into the specifics of, but it'll be interesting to see how that kind of fits into what is otherwise a very grounded movie. I say grounded and then we get Rhino, but
Yeah, well, but I'm that's the part of the trailer that I liked the most was the Rhino stuff, personally. But I don't know. Deadline had a lot to say about this movie.
They did. So J.C. Chandor, who is directing Kraven, a report came out saying that he has already set up a new movie with Sony. And in that report, they talked about the delay of Kraven, and they claimed that the delay to December 13th was to, quote, sharpen the characters and tighten the plot and to add some strategic reshoots, which were effective. And apparently Sony is optimistic that this movie will be more in line with the Venom movies and less in line with Madam Web.
I'll be here. Deadline doesn't write puff pieces, so I believe that Sony must feel somebody must be feeding Deadline some honest information. I think that whether Sony is rightly or wrongly believing it, I do believe Sony has a belief this movie is going to be better than it was before the reshoots, which is the whole point of reshoots. On par with Venom. That doesn't instill huge confidence in me because I'm not a huge fan of the Venom movies anyway, especially the second one. They obviously need to get away from Madam Web. I know we have defenders of Madam Web on the show, but the rest of the world realizes you got to get away from that. So, I mean, Venom was hugely successful, but Venom also, like Deadpool, here's the thing. Deadpool's not a super fun, super great movie in terms of its story. It's just an absolute blast. It's so much fun. I could make the same argument for Venom taking the quality down on both sides of that. It's not a super great movie. It's a little bit less fun than Deadpool, but it's still fun. Like Tom Hardy and like Eddie Brock and Venom, the commitment to that, the fun of that is what kept me into that movie, and I laughed and I had a good time. Kraven is the action looks cool. It's not necessarily action that's selling me, if that makes sense. And maybe I'm just more critical because I have lost a bit of faith. I've lost faith in the Sony Marvel movies. If this were like a Marvel Studios title, I'd probably watch this and be like, okay, Marvel Studios has my trust. Sony right now with Marvel just doesn't have my trust, so they need to gain it back. This trailer didn't really sway me one way or the other. I'm going to watch the movie and hopefully enjoy it. I'm more excited for this than I was for Madam Web. And Madam Web ended up being, I think, very bad. This, I have no idea what's going to happen. Venom 3 had a good trailer. I'm excited for Venom 3. So, I guess a good trailer could sway me into excitement, even in the Sony Marvel of it all.
Venom
That's
horse.
how you got caught up in Morbius. So
That is
I know,
true.
listen, I've been hurt before. I'm trying to guard myself, and maybe that's what it is. Madam Web, we never talked about this on the show. This was at a Comic-Con. At Comic-Con, I talked to Madam Web producer Lorenzo di Bonaventura, who's always a very good interview. And he's produced loads of titles, much more than Madam Web. Transformers movies, G.I. Joe, lots of things. Very successful resume. And when you put out that many movies, they're not all going to be bangers. They're not all going to be hits. And I asked him about the Madam Web sequel, and instead of describing that, we have the clip, and then we'll talk about it. Was the last time you and I talked was at the Madam Web junket. That movie just crushed on Netflix. It did so well on Netflix. Does that mean we might see those characters again?
I have no idea. I really don't know. Yeah, that was a heartbreaking experience in the theaters. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. Well, I would love to hear about that experience, because I know people don't usually ask hey, if a movie doesn't perform as well as you wanted it to, or people don't like it as much as you wanted to, what is that? What is that experience as a filmmaker? Because you want to have the Transformers one, which it sounds like.
In your head.
I believe it. I feel weird asking about it, but I find it interesting.
I think one of the things, and this is a longer conversation, which I'd be happy to have. I think one of the problems with streaming is that we don't know how to judge failure or success exactly, right? Opening weekend, when it doesn't work, you just got slammed side of your head, right? And so the brutalness of failure really makes you concentrate on the next movie. I don't want that experience again. So it's a harsher experience. So I think that has a lot to do with what kinds of movies now that I look at, all right, how am I going to approach this?
Yeah, I don't think streaming had anything to do with the quality of Madam Web, but the success of or not, I think, is a fair factor in a lot of films. And I appreciate Lorenzo being so open to talk about that. I genuinely wanted to hear about, because you don't hear from filmmakers after a movie flops and gets destroyed critically and from fans. And I find that interesting. And it's always I can't ruin the vibe of my interview by bringing up this shitty thing they experienced. But I don't know. I went for it, and I was appreciative that Lorenzo was down to talk about it.
I think you handled it really well too.
Yeah.
And like he said, he's like, I'm down to talk about it more, which interesting. I want you to do a real serious Walters kind of sit down.
Right. I would probably. Also Lorenzo has so much to talk about. So many. Constantine. So many projects Lorenzo has been attached to that you could just sit down and talk about successes and failures. And I always find that kind of stuff interesting. We really only get to talk about right now and the future when we do interviews. I really enjoy the look back stuff, like the Pyro interview, talking about scenes from X2. We so rarely get to dive into stuff like that because our time is so limited with people and they want to focus on the project they're promoting now. And then we want to usually hear about something that might be coming down the line that we like. What Chris Van Vliet does with wrestlers, looking back at the past 25 years, I would love to do that with Marvel actors and filmmakers and talk about the wins, the losses, the scenes that defines these franchises. We just don't get an opportunity to do it. But this was an opportunity to hear about Madam Web, which was pretty recent, and Lorenzo was down to talk about it. That said, movie ain't getting a sequel, let's be honest.
I do commend his honesty in this situation. And I do think, it being popular on Netflix is definitely a spin and definitely a positive way to look at the situation. I still, as a Madam Web defender, I'm glad the movie found an audience and that people were able to enjoy it for what it is, even as it kind of got eviscerated at the box office. So I'm glad he has a good outlook on it all. It does kind of suck, but I'm glad that he has a good perspective.
I want to see something real quick. Borderlands made $8.8 million, which it's a bad movie. Madam Web made 17 million in its opening weekend.
Yeah.
And I dare say, I pray to God that movie was cheaper than Borderlands.
I feel like it was.
It had to be.
No matter how much you hate Madam Web, you have to admit it's better than Borderlands.
Borderlands is just brutal. Like, I don't know. This isn't a video game show. And if I don't have something nice to say, I'm gonna shut up because Jesus.
Aaron, how do you feel about Madam Web?
Go listen to the homies over at Quick Save talk about Borderlands. I'm sure that was great. I'm sure that someone spiked Gamer Fuel over there for that one. That's gonna be fun to listen to Tanner and them talk about that. It's so nice to watch some of these and not be horribly invested. So you could just kind of have the Dane Cook, you're about to be struck by a vehicle-esque reaction to whatever car crash is going on outside. Like, well, that wasn't good. It doesn't affect me really, but like that wasn't dope. I felt like we were always going to get a worse movie than like Madam Web this year, just because the odds are bad. It's like whenever they have in Vegas, like a sports team, it's like the favorite to win championship versus the field. It's like, you better be sure the field is a lot of people. It's like 30 people. And if anything goes wrong, something's going to go strange. So I appreciate the honesty. I think the funniest part about the Kraven thing is that there isn't going to be this big fan campaign against it the same way there was for Madam Web. So the reception will be more positive. I'm going to go ahead and predict that right now. It's very, very funny. I've seen a couple of the commenters. I could scroll up here. Life Language Leo, others be like, do you think they'd ever give the rights back to Marvel? And I'm like, no, unfortunately, guys.
Well, no, Spider-Man is just
Spider-Man.
Valuable.
Yeah.
We're going to get that Hypno Hustler movie before we ever get Andrew Garfield fighting Paul Giamatti. Like, that's never going to happen, guys. At least not right now. I will be 30. I'll be 39 years old if that happens.
What the hell are they doing? Like, I would love to. If I had time in my Feige interview, or I felt like this would be a question he would feel comfortable answering, I would have asked it. I don't think I would have gotten an answer. And if I ever talk to Amy Pascal again, which hopefully for Kraven I do, I genuinely want the answer to this. This is a tinfoil hat theory. This is not rooted in anything with inside knowledge or something. This is something I think I've mentioned before on the show, but I, for the life of me, cannot understand why Sony won't make a Spider-Man movie, why Sony won't make a movie with Spider-Man in it. You're using every other character that people don't, comic fans care. Listen, Kraven's a very cool character. Kraven's Last Hunt, like there is so much cool stuff Kraven has been a part of. Madam Web, not very thoroughly developed of a character, but there are characters in there that people really care about, like Julia Carpenter, that's been a part of animation and been a part of comics. But Morbius, Venom, these are characters obviously all directly tied to Spider-Man in every single thing that they do, almost every time they tell a story. And there is no Spider-Man movie on the horizon, and there is no involvement of Spider-Man in any of these from Sony. Where is Andrew Garfield's Amazing Spider-Man 3? People were crying for it 2-3 years ago. It would have been a huge hit. I have to think that there is some sort of clause in the collaborative process and the agreement between Marvel Studios and Sony that declares that if they are working together, if Tom Holland's Spider-Man or any version of the Spider-Man characters are also being used by Disney and that deal is existing, then Sony can't use Spider-Man. Just because if not, it's just stupid. And if that is the agreement, I think it's still more benefit. At least when the agreement was made, it was certainly more beneficial to Sony to have No Way Home on the way and have Spider-Man be part of the Avengers and get the box office haul for Far From Home and No Way Home and Homecoming, because they sent Spider-Man back into the highest echelons of movie success where the Amazing Spider-Man franchise wasn't going. But if they can make a Spider-Man movie and they're not, I just don't get it.
I feel like it might have something to do with Tom Holland as too. Like he's the current Spider-Man, right? And they still want to use him, but they can't. He can't be in everything, right? Like, he's only one man, and
maybe that's part of Tom Holland's agreement too, is that there can't be other Spider-Mans while he's Spider-Man unless it's something he's involved with. That's entirely possible too. It might not be a Sony thing, and we all point the finger at Sony because they've made a few bad movies, and it's easy to hop on that bandwagon. You know what? I will take the step back and say maybe there are other factors that I just can't see and I'm not aware of that it could be Tom Holland's contract, and that's very possible that he has his lawyers and team put that in there. It maybe not. There's so much we don't know, and speculating on it feels almost reckless because then people might start pointing fingers and people look at us for guidance. But I, for the life of me, can't understand why Sony won't just make a Spider-Man movie or a movie with Spider-Man in it.
It's because he's
in live
Euphoria.
action. In live action. What?
It's because he's in Euphoria.
We're going to take a 1 minute break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about Halle Berry, friend of the show, friends of people on the show, not an official guest. But anyway, just subscribe, and then in 1 minute you'll find out. See you in a moment. Welcome back to Phase Zero. The Aaron Stanford Spotlight interview. I was like, wait, what do I talk about here? The Aaron Stanford Spotlight interview, which really happy with that. It's pretty funny to me that the first Spotlight episode we released in the post-Paramount era of the Phase Zero and comic book saga is the first episode we ever recorded in a Paramount studio. But it looks great, sounds great. Aaron Stanford was a wonderful guest, and he talked all about Deadpool and Wolverine with spoilers and stuff, including how Chris Evans was kept a secret. Is that the clip that we have here?
I believe so.
Yeah, we can check this out and plug our own show here. Check this out.
Costume, and suddenly everyone on set is surprised.
That's the scene that all the set photos came out from.
Yep.
I did not see Chris Evans in those set photos.
No.
How was that kept a secret?
So, that whole thing was shot in like the enormous like Mad Max desert wasteland. And the reason that all the photos leaked is because it was like one place they were not able to secure because it was outside. All of the paparazzi set up, half a mile away with like telephoto lenses and got the shots because they just have to deliver those spoilers. They got to just spoil it for everybody, man. I think the reason that you didn't see Chris in that is because that very particular scene was split up pre-strike and post Screen Actors Guild strike. So we were in there shooting the first part of that scene the very first day I worked, and that was the day that Chris worked. We all went away for however many months it took to settle the strike, and then when we came back, we shot the back end of that sequence. That was the day the paparazzi showed up and Chris wasn't there.
Imagine if they had snapped that picture.
Ruin it for everybody, man.
That's
take everyone's Christmas away.
Not our Christmas. But yeah, that was an awesome interview. He talked about X2. He talked about like the scene in front of Bobby's house, all that stuff. We talked about if he has a future as Pyro after Deadpool and Wolverine, what the multiverse could do. Just all and he confirmed that he sees it as an extension of the Pyro we saw in X2, which I think like also is a continuation of X3, but like is X3 still canon after Days of Future Past? I don't really know.
If you ask Jamie, the answer's no.
Yeah. So anyway, he confirmed though that it's the same character. He got blasted out of X3 into the void. But yeah, so that's available now. Thanks to everybody who's been listening to it. And also got to shout out the fact that the Daphne Keane interview that Jenna and I did, that thing is popped past 3.7 million listens and views and downloads. And that includes like social clips and streams and all kinds of stuff. It's the #1 most watched live show ever on the Phase Zero channel. And it's just popped off on social media. And that only counts views and downloads and listens that are on official comic book accounts or accounts of comic book employees. That doesn't include like the meme accounts that have ripped clips from that and shared them and got millions of views and all that stuff. So But thank you to everybody who's supported it on our channels that help us grow. And it's flattering that other outlets and or meme accounts and stuff feel the need to rip it and share it because it's such a good interview. But anyway, speaking of good interviews,
Jamie.
Oh my gosh. Happy birthday, Halle Berry, who I talked to this week. I have to shout out how that was on the red carpet for The Union, new Netflix movie that's coming out this weekend. And I was towards the end of the carpet and Halle Berry was last. And the rep came up and she's like, only one question. And I literally said, can I please have two? Because when you get one question, you got to ask about the movie at hand. And I was like, I can't have it be in front of Halle Berry and not ask about why is she a Deadpool and Wolverine. And of course, don't worry, I mentioned Secret Wars. I told her we were holding out for Secret Wars, but she gave an answer I did not expect. She said, I asked her if there were talks about being Deadpool and Wolverine. She said, no, Blake, as in Blake Lively, asked me one time. I ran into her at a Marc Jacobs fashion show and she said, would you ever be in my husband's movie, A Storm? I said, yeah, if he asked me, but he never asked me. And to me, that is proof that they have plans. Like, I really think that this means that that they're saving the big names for Secret Wars.
yeah, I think so too.
It is wild.
Storytelling.
It's wild to me. I just have to say that, like, she would have said yes, but they never said yes. Like, everyone took your quote and kind of ran with it and was like, come on, Ryan, what are you doing? But like you said, I think there has to be some other plan for her. Otherwise, they would have had her in the movie.
And they like, you look at the movie, and aside from Wolverine himself, there are no major X-Men movie players. Like, Pyro's great, but he's not like, having just done a wonderful interview with Aaron Stanford and hearing all about Pyro, there, like, we know there's levels to it. He's not exactly the top. He's not Storm or Cyclops. He's not on the X jet with everybody, when the key players are there. So all those characters, from Beast to Cyclops to Storm, well, Beast already appeared, but not in Deadpool and Wolverine. Jean Grey, Professor X. I would say, like, the most integral star power type of characters that are both famous because the character's so popular and because of the actor who played them. They weren't in Deadpool and Wolverine, and I think they will be back for Secret Wars. At least, maybe I'm confusing think and belief with hope. But yeah, she's down. She'll do it. Let's go.
Mike Coulter was also there. He's in this movie too. And it was funny because I literally, after we talked about the Union, I was like, I literally said, I'm not going to insult you by asking if Luke Cage is going to return. But then he just talked about that. Like, that was my segue into another question about Daredevil. But instead, I said that and he goes, I would love to explore it if they found some story, some way, somewhere to take it. I'm happy that Charlie Cox and those are getting it rebooted, but I don't have any idea if Luke Cage is getting rebooted. I'm not holding anything back. And then I basically asked him, which was going to be my initial question, like, how does he feel about the fact that Daredevil was originally going to be kind of a reboot, different universe kind of a thing? And he said, I think that that's the right move, meaning fixing that. And he said they should have never tried. No, I don't know what that was about. I'm like, well, yeah, duh, it was not broke, so don't fix it. Which is a great answer. Lovely. And the cast of The Union, let me tell you, best red carpet I've ever done. They were all so chatty, down to answer stuff about the Union and about not the Union. It's a shame we don't have a video team here in LA, because I think some of those videos could have done really well. But I have not left a carpet feeling so, like, productive ever in my time doing this. So shout out to Halle Berry and Mark Wahlberg, who doesn't want to be in the MCU because he doesn't want to wear tights. He told me so.
I wish we had that Halle Berry moment on video. If we had somebody out there to help with that. But great work by Jamie. Big few days for Jamie Jirak.
Seriously.
Big few days.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Can't even talk about one thing yet.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah. We can't do that. Go on Marvel Studios Instagram for Jamie and Catherine Hahn's Friendship Power Hour if you have a chance. In other weird, man, we just keep talking about Spider-Man. Lamar Morris talked to us about Spider-Man Noir, another Jamie Jirak bullet point list. This is the Jamie block of the episode, in case you haven't noticed. He said when we asked, well, I can't say too much. I've been sworn to secrecy. However, I will say it will be an experience unlike anyone's ever seen on television. What they're doing is insane. It really is insane. And I'm just grateful to have this opportunity to bring this version of Robbie Robertson to life. Folks who know me, you can assume there'll be a level of Lamorne in there, which is why they gave me the job. Like I said, I can't tease too much, but I think fans will be overjoyed what they see. Good luck with the Saturday Night Live thing and this, my guy. How do we feel about Spider-Man Noir and more stuff for Robbie to do in this adaptation? Jamie's like dancing already. This is great.
He's such a fun actor. He's so fun to watch. Like, yeah, I can't wait to see him go up against Nicolas Cage in terms of like not like fighting, just like acting. Can't wait. That could like once we get past Agatha, I believe Spider-Man Noir will probably be my most anticipated Marvel project.
Brandon just I mean, we haven't seen Robbie really properly in live action ever. So I'm excited to see what this show has in terms of a take on him. And I do think this is perfect casting. So it's a win. I feel like the show isn't fully real until we start seeing stuff from it, but I like the enthusiasm that everybody has.
I'm right there. I'm like, is this? I feel about this news the way I feel about the Kraven trailer. I'm just like, oh, okay, I'll believe it when I see it. I'm gonna watch it. I hope it's good. Now, when the Noir trailer drops, then I mean, it's got a lot of good pieces in it, but it's one of those that I'm like, what the hell is actually happening with this? I don't believe this could possibly exist. So I don't know.
Speaking of things that apparently will not exist.
What a segue. Oh my God.
Started talking. I was like, this works perfectly. I was very proud of that. So Kit Harington talked about Eternals to Variety. And this is the exact quote. I'm going to read it verbatim. He said, "I'm not going to pretend that I took that role," meaning Black Knight, "because it was different and interesting. If Marvel calls, you got to do it." So that was a profile with GQ. And then when Variety wrote it up, they confirmed Marvel is reportedly not developing a sequel to Eternals.
Kit, dear goodness gracious. He just looked at the MCU and said, I don't want it. I don't want it. My God.
I think he's a little bitter, and I would be too.
Yeah.
If they're like, okay, so this first movie, you're just going to be like a side piece kind of like situation. Like you're like the boyfriend of the cool, like one of the cool characters, but don't worry, we're just sprinkling you for your next appearance. And now it's like, oh, okay, so that's the end of that. And we still could get him elsewhere, but like, does Blade exist? So but I don't blame him for being a little salty and just saying it's not very original. But it is a shame because I really like him in that movie, and I would have liked to have seen him again. But I in terms of No Eternals 2, I think it's a shame because think about some of the movies like the second ones are so much better than the first ones. Think about Thor like Ragnarok. Like if they had just based off Thor the Dark World, we wouldn't have had Ragnarok. So I think that's a weak move on their part.
I don't care that we're not getting an Eternal sequel. There's a couple characters in Eternals I really liked, Jon Snow being one of them. But for the most part, that movie didn't really do that much for me. And not my Nova. Chill.
Oh.
Chill.
She has opinions about Eternals.
Nova is like, you want to talk about Eternals? Huh? Yeah, I mean, this feels like it's coming out of the messy era of like the MCU behind the scenes when they're trying to do too much at once, and I think the quality of some titles suffered a bit because of it, and the sequel possibilities also kind of suffered a bit because of it. It's also, here's the thing, we've talked about this, I think Agatha might not be a thing that would be happening if it wasn't greenlit during that same era. We've acknowledged that. I really think Marvel's scaling back and they're focusing on the things that are very obvious wins, which, yes, that's a bummer because that means a bit of risks won't be taken, but also I think it means the quality of the things that we do get is going to be higher and more, hopefully more unanimously appreciated. Because it's fun. Nothing is going to be made for everyone, but it is fun when more people like it.
I will say it's been worth it. It's been worth it. I just have to say, to see the Harry Styles fans make memes about him being unemployed now, like those have just been worth it as this news has been going around in the past day.
Technically, I'm unemployed right now. But we'll talk about that at the end of the show.
Aaron, what were you going to say?
It's a little bit of a bummer because a lot of us predicted that this is exactly what was going to happen when this whole slowdown thing was discussed at the beginning, that all the things that certain characters, certain experiences, certain things would get pushed to the back burner for things that now I'm pretty confident I'm going to see freaking Channing Tatum's Gambit in a thing before we see any of that stuff, which is weird, which is like strange. I know the internet loves it. I know, first of all, the meme, I'm not going to say it. I don't have a good dialect coach, so I'm not going to. But yeah, like it's a little weird. It's a little strange. Oh, Nova.
I
I
know.
moved the camera and she
Hi,
jumped.
Nova.
She got scared of the camera.
Oh.
What are you doing? You being shy?
Hi.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, there's a Nova cameo we've all been waiting for. Oh, there we go. All right. Anyway, well, I'll figure that out. I'm glad I'm on the big screen for this. I'm still on the big screen. Anyway, is it time to take a break?
I think it is.
All right, let's take a break. See you in a minute. Welcome back to Phase Zero. This week in a D23, which feels like it was yesterday, but it was actually 3 days ago. There was a TVA activation, and this is the D23 portion of the show. We're going to talk about that and the stuff coming to Avengers Campus and Robert Downey Jr.'s return and stuff like that, and video games. We're going to talk a little bit about Fortnite. But the TVA had a really cool activation at D23. We all did it. I posted a video on the Phase Zero channel, kind of touring the whole thing. But I yap. What Aaron, you're at the top of the screen. What'd you think of the TVA activation?
It's really fun to see them sort of give the fans a chance to experience some of this stuff in first person. The technology on display for that rocket thing is that, you know what? It's only a matter of time for something like that makes its way to the parks. So get excited, especially with some of the stuff we're going to talk about later. Fun to see the Agatha costumes. Surprised to see the Deadpool Wolverine costumes. That was like, what? Wait a second. And the little hologram Miss Minutes was also really cool. I'm a sucker for all this like retro futurism. So I took really close-up shots of a bunch of typewriters and monitors and crap, which I was like, oh man, it scratched all the itches. So great stuff.
Jenna, what do you think?
As a comic fan, it is insane to me that the TVA is well known enough to get something like this. Like, it's actually wild to see. If you told me like 3-4 years ago we would be at this point, I would not believe you at all. It's so much fun. It was very immersive, even as you're in the middle of a con floor and you know you're in the middle of a thing. I think it worked really well. To Aaron's point, I honestly think because it was structured around like time doors, I think Avengers Campus should utilize those time doors if it needs to like transport us to different realities or whatever, because that seemed like a really cool, really easy way to get you to feel like you're still in the world. So I thought it was really fun. I'm very curious what Jamie's going to say about it.
Well, when Jamie Jarek, was at D23 this weekend,
The bit lives.
Yes, it was really cool. I do have some complaints, and one is for some aesthetic reason they decided to put all the costumes behind really dirty glass, and like it was clear that was like an aesthetic choice, but it's like I can't see the costume. Well, I was like kind of ticked off. I was like, let me get this close to the window to try to see, like, and they had cool, like, they had like the OG Iron Man suit that he built in a cave from scraps, and they had, you know, like Black Panther stuff, and then they had the Deadpool Wolverine cameo costumes, and I'm like, wow, so cool. Wish I could see it with my eyeballs and not like through a dirty piece of glass. Also, I wish they had made it more clear that Rocket was like actually speaking to you, because my group was so awkward. We just stood there and Rocket was like, is anyone going to say anything? And then I just like panicked and shouted out a question, which like he had a really fun answer. But I wish that it had been a little, but aside from that, it was really cool. And I obviously love that there was a whole Agatha section with Agatha costumes that felt very like, it felt very Witches Roady. So that was really cool.
Yeah, I tell you, the video right now is showing the time doors and how foggy those damn windows were. Like, I was trying to get video and pictures and stuff, and it was just like I walked through it twice, and the first time, which is the video you're seeing, I didn't even notice that the Scarlet Witch costume was in this, because it was just like behind stuff, and
wow,
like,
that's first time noticing it.
Yeah,
what
there's like 7 different
person.
costumes in there, and I only saw like 4 the first time. But I mean, it was a really cool activation. I really thought it was very well done. I mean, yes, aside from the fogginess of like, see, that's the clearest shot you're gonna get of the costumes. And talking to Rocket was really cool. A lot of people think it was AI. That was actually like, it's an actor who is captured in real time and immediately turned into Rocket, the same way like Crush is, the turtle interacts with people at the.
Well, am I correct in saying it's the guy who voices Bishop on X-Men 97 was sitting up in there?
As Rocket?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I feel I when we were chatting with Lenore Zan, I'm almost positive that that's what she said.
Huh. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's interesting. That'd be cool. Yeah, it was a cool activation. And then there was just tons and tons of news about the parks that followed the activation being opened and stuff.
Oh boy, there's so much stuff that got announced. Where if you were following Jenna and Brandon, they were trying our best to relay all the information for us. You know, we did not get Brandon nonverbal because Robert Downey Jr. was not there, but we did get announcements of new Spider-Man coasters in Shanghai Disneyland and Hong Kong Disneyland. Both those look great. I am always sad when they announce like actual roller coaster things that are not coming to the one that is an hour and a half from here at the house.
Hey, you don't want to pop over to Shanghai for a day trip?
I mean, right.
Sure.
Bob, what are you doing? Come on, help us out.
Bob.
So that got announced. Avengers Campus is doubling in size with construction beginning in 2025. The centerpiece of that being Avengers Infinity Defense, which is the King Thanos ride, which Brandon has helpfully showed us to scale how tall King Thanos is over on his Instagram. That is the multiverse ride that has been in development now for what, 3-4 years, I want to say, since the time we heard about it. You all are people who are watching right now are getting a visual of it. Yeah, there we go.
That was just show my eye line on how big he is. I said in the video I'm 6'3", and if I look straight ahead, I'm at this giant King Thanos' belt. So he's a big boy.
It's a big boy. You get a chance to, and we're getting a little bit of the actual carts. It's a 5-row situation, right? We don't know exactly what ride architecture it's built off of, but it feels like it's probably going to be a lot like Rise of Resistance. Guests get to travel to Wakanda, Asgard, and New York to stop King Thanos from stealing technology that allows the Avengers to jump between worlds. So they're just going to kidnap poor America Chavez again. Concept art shows Iron Man, Hulk, Ant-Man, a bunch of other heroes, smaller. The previous concept art had all kinds of stuff in there. We'll see if that still is in the ride. As well, coming to Disney's California Avengers Campus is Stark Flight Lab. It's like a 2-person ride where you fly like Iron Man. RDJ is returning as Tony Stark. They showed photos of him and Bob Iger like riding the prototype at the entertainment showcase, and that's pretty wild. So 2 new rides, more area on Avengers Campus. Jenna had never been on the ground when we made our visit, so I know that for a lot of us, that's like, woo, good, because there's not a whole, like, it's fun, but it's not very big. And there's legitimately, like, what, 2 rides were being charitable, right?
Yeah.
And the Spider-Man
2
one's
and,
not great.
and 1 is like just Tower of Terror revamped, and it was existed, and the Guardians ride existed before Avengers Campus. So
Yes.
It's true.
So,
Robert Downey
there
Jr.'s
you-
back.
in a
I've,
big
Again.
I've, I've seen people theorize what is the likelihood that as they're filming Avengers 5 and 6, they're just going to have him like pop into a booth and like record the stuff for this ride at the same time. Like,
Yeah, but that's-
I would not
don't
put
think
that
it's
past
a
them at all.
I definitely don't think it's a coincidence. I think that fat payday probably includes this.
Yeah.
And this is, I don't think this is a cheap effort either. I think that if you're probably the most marketable actor who plays the maybe second most popular character worldwide, I don't know, Spider-Man and Iron Man are right there. I think it's undeniable. Spider-Man is the most sells more than anything else, but Iron Man is undeniably the like one of the most foundational characters of the MCU and marketable. And I think obviously just having him in there will be a huge draw for people. And you can't, like, I went to Paris and they had that Iron Man animatronic and it was speaking French and I thought it was really cool. But because it was speaking French, it didn't take me out and make me go, well, that's not Robert Downey Jr. When Tony Stark is there and he's played by Downey, I think that's going to be amazing. And I'm obviously very excited for that. And they showed like a photo of Bob Iger and Robert Downey Jr., one of which is a friend of the show, on testing the ride. It's like, looks cool. It's like 2 seats and then like an arm comes from behind and like picks you up, moves you around. Maybe it's going to be like a play on the guys, the little arms from Iron Man's garage. But yeah, Avengers Campus, I think, needs the upgrade, to be honest.
The King Thanos
Absolutely.
ride looks cool. I'm glad they finally proved
does.
that it still exists, because that concept art I feel like was showed so many lifetimes ago. Like Aaron said, I remember we got like the first look at Werewolf by Night and like a new Daredevil costume and all of that stuff in that very first promo art. So I'm glad we have more, and I'm glad that it seems like an actual ride and not just like a pipe dream.
I think the King Thanos ride is going to be like, given that it's like this multiverse ride and the whole story of the multiverse is that there's variants and all kinds of stuff like that. My prediction is that it's going to be a ride that's going to be different every time. So you might get different heroes on your journey with you. You might get a different experience, and that way it just has re-rideability. It's going to keep getting you to buy that fast pass for $20 or Genie, whatever it's called now, on the Disneyland app, and you're going to want to go do it again to try to, just like you get a different song on the Guardians rides, you might get different heroes or different worlds entirely. Like maybe one time you get Wakanda, another time you get Asgard, another time you get New York. And that would be cool. It would be cool. I would want to experience all of them, which it would be frustrating to know. I probably never will, but it would be cool to know that you could go on. Imagine just going on, waiting like 3 hours, and you get the same version.
Oh no.
But I don't know if that's going to be the case. I think it would be cool if it is, though. We'll see.
That is Lightning Lane Single Pass.
Yeah.
For those of you listening now, if we're keeping
That's what
track.
it's called now?
That's what
For
it's
now.
called.
Okay. All right. Well, Jenna, we're gonna have to team up though.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to team up on something outside of Avengers Campus.
Yeah, so this was also announced during the experiences panel at D23. I wish I could have been in the room with BD as seeing his reaction to this, because I've heard from our friends who were in the room that this was the highlight of the entire panel for him. So they unveiled the details around Marvel's new Fortnite season. It launches on Friday. It is called Absolute Doom. Very convenient given the Downey of it all that we're immediately putting Doom into a video game that a lot of people play, and now they'll be aware of who he is. So it's all Fortnite, or all Marvel for this new season. There's not necessarily like other characters thrown in. We have Doom, we have Emma Frost, Gwenpool, Mysterio, Black Panther, War Machine, Peelverine, so Peely and Wolverine, and Jonesy as Captain America. Brandon, I need you to talk about finding the Peely Wolverines at D23, because I was at my hotel getting breakfast and I saw 20 of them walk past the window and head to the con floor, and I sent a picture to BD and he was like on a mission to go find them as soon as he could.
Yeah, I saw that photo and I said, I need to see these Peelverines. And honestly, I got really lucky because my search didn't take that long. I walked across the convention center and I made it to like the fountain in front of D23. And this is what I found right there at the front gate. Just an army of Peely Wolverines walking in. There were so many of them. Look at them. Oh my God.
Love it.
There was like 17 of them in a row. And there was also a Peely Pool, which I did not find, unfortunately. I also, by the way, you guys know how far the TVA thing was from the front gate. I followed them all the way to the TVA thing.
You were just a groupie that day. You were just
I
following them
absolutely
around.
was a Wolverine groupie. But I think this Battle Pass news is great. I loved the last Marvel season. Kevin Feige, interesting here. Kevin Feige said during the presentation, during the Epic Games portion of this Parks presentation, he said that he thought what Epic Games did with Galactus devouring the island was so well done that he sent it to the team working on Fantastic Four First Steps so they could look at it and find some inspiration there. And I think maybe that's just a bit of gassing up the partnership with Epic Games, but I also don't doubt that they really do look at all that stuff. And it was a great Fortnite event.
Yeah.
I saw people crapping on that bit on poo-pooing on it on Twitter. It was pretty good, so don't be too mad about it. Fortnite. It's amazing that they're having Robert Downey Jr. play the guy from Fortnite. So,
and then Latveria and the Raft have already been confirmed to be part of the new map. So there will be like new Marvel locations on top of all of the other characters. So it launches on Friday. I already said to Brandon, we need to find a way to stream the two of us playing and maybe Jamie and Aaron do commentary, because I feel like that needs to happen in this new season.
oh man,
Jamie, the face you just made.
I think
what?
Oh no.
Pedal
You
faster.
offended her so much that her computer gave up.
Oh no. Sorry. I don't know what happened.
What'd you say? You think what?
Oh no, my internet was like, you don't need to talk about Fortnite.
Fortnite?
I was like, what the hell are those bananas? I was so confused. I don't know.
Oh my
anything
God,
about
come
them.
on now. They're Wolverines, Jamie. Get cultured.
I know
Get
now
cultured.
because you informed me, but I was really confused at the time.
Well, there we go. All right. That's our show today. Busy day, busy, interesting week for the comic book team here. We're navigating, we're figuring it out. Jenna, any last words for today's show?
It's at Hey It's Jenna Lynn on social media, and as always, go read some comics.
Aaron Perrine, what you got?
It's at Simile Corner on Twitter. And because of last week's various things, I did not get a chance to shout out, but rest in peace to Connie Chiume, who plays one of the elders in Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, and Black Panther, who passed away recently. Titan of South African screen.
Jamie Jurek, any last words for today's show?
Oh yeah, shout out to everybody who came up to us at D23. We love that.
Yeah.
It was so cool, and BD crushed that panel. So it was just like the energy this weekend. Like I feel like we're all really low energy today because we had one of the craziest weekends of all time. So that was great. I know none of you are seeing Borderlands, but when you do go to the movies, don't have your phone out. Don't talk to your neighbors. Yeah, love you guys so much.
Yep. I technically, from like a literal technical standpoint right now, I'm unemployed. And I want to address that because I just in case. I'm not trying to put any fear in anybody. I'm not trying to like do some sort of negotiation tactic. This is coming from a genuine place because I love doing Phase Zero. And it's the number one thing that really makes me want to continue working at comic book for as long as I can, is this show and working with the three of you and our audience. Just with the transition from Paramount into Savage Ventures, I've just been trying to have communications and get some stuff sorted and haven't. So my Paramount employment ended yesterday, and I have not. I've been made an offer by Savage, and we're going to hopefully talk today and figure it out. And that's the goal, is to figure it out and just make sure that the staff is being taken care of and doing everything we can to make sure that people who need answers are getting them, and just that we're moving forward in a way that everybody's protected and able to keep doing the great job we've all been doing. And we don't have a reason to think that's going to change. We, obviously we've seen, we'd be lying if we said that we don't kind of have anxieties about stuff like this, because we've seen these sort of acquisitions happen before. But we all have been given, reason to believe that everything's going to be cool. Everything's going to be business as usual. We're going to get to keep doing this show. So that's the plan. I have meetings after this to get it sorted. I love doing this show. I truly don't believe it will be my last time on Phase Zero. I can't imagine that's the case. But in the obvious, just 1 in a million chance that it is. It's been the thrill of a lifetime, and I'd be stupid to not say that. But I feel like even saying that might scare our viewers or listeners into thinking I'm not going to be back next week. I have every intention of being back next week. I just have to get some stuff settled and figured out and make sure everything's good to go, and that we're all going to be able to keep doing this for a long time because we love doing it. So that's where that's at. And yeah, that's my last words for today's show. It's been 10 years at Comic Book. It's been 4 years on Phase Zero. And again, don't plan on ending that. I just got to get it all figured out. And I always want to be honest with you guys, because you guys are our community. Meeting you guys at D23, like Jamie just said, is so, it's not Deadpool weekend anymore. I can't curse. Cool. And yeah, so we'll figure it out. And we love you guys. We love this show. Play our show for your mom. Play it for your dog. Subscribe to our channel. Share it with a friend. And we'll be back. We'll figure out if we're going to do an episode on Monday. We don't have a bonus episode planned yet. We like to do them every Monday, as you know. It's been crazy. We are planning a WandaVision rewatch series where we're going to split it in 2 halves. It's on the spreadsheet. Yeah, of course. Before Agatha, we got to rewatch.
I swear we
WandaVision.
brought this up and you didn't remember, Jamie.
No, tell me.
So-
No, I'm just hearing about this right now.
So that's coming, but I don't think we have anything necessarily planned yet for Monday. So if we can plan something great, that's worth your time and worth your listen and worth your download. We'll be back on Monday with a bonus episode. If not, every Wednesday at noon Eastern time, we're live on the Phase Zero YouTube channel. So subscribe there so you don't miss it, and continue listening on every major podcast platform. It's been insane. It feels like the storm has passed, and it was like a really cool storm of Deadpool and D23 and Comic-Con, and we got to go do these incredible things and be a part of these awesome moments and share them with the Phase Zero community. Right now, it feels like we can focus on recalibrate, regroup, and see what's next. So thank you so much for the past month, and I'm really looking forward to doing this again with you guys next week. And we'll see you there.